Some topics in this video will be rather heavy, so let's start out with something simple. Watch a scene from the movie ROCKY II and take note of the release date. That will be important. Now, the movie ROCKY II was released in the United States on June 15th, 1979. Keep that date in mind. We'll get back to that, but let's watch the scene where Rocky is about to buy a house. And he makes a comment about the address. He makes a comment about the number on the house.
Nice house. I said it's a nice house in general, wouldn't you? Huh? Look at these bricks, Adrian.
My husband's an expert on bricks.
Are these new bricks?
Yeah, oh, this is a very solid neighborhood.
Yeah?
I like this. Very
I
nice.
like these bricks. They're very nicely done here. Looks very solid. Nice mailbox. I like this mailbox. You know, these numbers almost add up to 9 here. I like that. That's a good omen. Nice house. I said it's a nice house in general, wouldn't you? Huh? Look at these bricks, Adrian.
My husband's an expert on bricks.
Are these new bricks?
Yeah, oh, this is a very solid neighborhood.
Yeah?
I like this. Very
I
nice.
like these bricks. They're very nicely done here. Looks very solid. Nice mailbox. I like this mailbox. You know, these numbers almost add up to 9 here. I like that. That's a good omen.
Now, the number on the house was 2313, 2313. Rocky said these numbers almost add up to 9. 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3. Hey, Rocco, the numbers in the house actually do add up to 9. Exactly. This will eventually connect us to what's known as the number of the beast, but for now, let's stay focused on the number of the house. That little joke with Rocky Balboa trying to do simple math in that scene is a lot deeper than it might actually first appear. Again, Rocky's house number was 2313. And check out what date was 2313 days before the Rocky II release. And then we'll check out 2313 days after its release. And we're talking about the U.S. release date. 2313 days before the U.S. release date of Rocky II brings us to the date February 13th, which can appear as 2:13. In the Bible, Ezra 2:13 counts the number of the children of Adonikam. According to Ezra 2:13, the children of Adonikam are 666. Not to get too far off track, but I'll leave a link in the description box for a video I did about a Fibonacci cipher. In that video, I talked about some permutations of the number 213. Talked about how 312 plus 231 plus 123 equals the same as 321 plus 132 plus 213. The sum in either case is 666. And to recap, 666 children of Adonikam were recorded in Ezra 2:13. 213 reminds me of a date, February 13th, and we can get to February 13th by going backwards. Remember what the house number was. We're going backwards 2313 days before the Rocky II release date. And again, I was inspired to verify this because 2313 was the number on the house Rocky purchased. So 2313 days after the release date gives us a significant connection. We end up at the date October 14th. That date can appear as 1014, and in the Bible, the first book of Kings, 10:14, talks about King Solomon receiving 666 talents of gold. Now, there's a lot of layers to this. Let's keep it simple. Let's break down the name. Solomon. Sol, S-O-L, means sun in Latin. Think of Sol, like solar flare, solar eclipse, solar system. And as you may already know, the name Apollo is also a reference to the sun. Rocky bought his house after his fight with Apollo. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description box. There's a Fibonacci-based cipher of gematria. And the cipher's on the screen here. And in this cipher, the name Apollo equals 666. A YouTube channel going by the name Wake Up told me about this. Anyway, so Apollo is associated with the sun, and it's no coincidence that the planetary magic square of the sun has connections with 666. We'll get into that in another video. But if you want to watch the Rocky films, actually, if you've already seen them, you know that Apollo gave his child the name Adonis. So Apollo's son is also named after a god. And this reminds me of Adonaiah and Adonaikum. And recall the verse about the 666 children of Adonaikum from Ezra 2:13. And now what's funny is what happens if we use 213, or the date February 13th, as a starting point and go forward a span of 213 days. Now, leap years throw this off by a day, so in that case it's not a span, but rather simply 213 days after 2/13 we'll be looking at. So notice 213 days after the date 213 brings us to the date 913. Notice 2 Chronicles 9:13 in the Bible is an exact replica of the verse in the Book of Kings about the 666 talents of gold. Anyway, it seems that most people are most familiar with the 666 verse calling out the number of the beast. That's from Revelation 13:18. And in a gematria cipher called reverse trigonal, wouldn't you know, Adonaiah equals 1318. Adonaiah connects with the Hebrew word for God. Adon can command respect. Adon can be a lord or head of a household, perhaps a king. Adon can be a boss, like how a mafia boss in the Godfather story was Don Corleone. Anyway, Adonis, Adonaiah, and again, 666 children of Adonaikum. In the Rocky movies, Adonis, who was named after a god, was the son of the boxer Apollo, who was also named after a god. And again, a word for God in Hebrew is Adonaiah, and it has that 1318 gematria value. Now this calculation seems appropriate using Rocky II's release date. If we go backwards a span of 1318 days, because number of the beast from Revelation 13:18. Anyway, if we go backwards from the release date, 1318 days, that brings us to November 6th, a date which can appear as 11/6 or 11:06. Think about the clock. When it's 11:06 in the morning, that would be the 666th minute of the day. So the biblical theme exists in the word as well as in the number. The movie Rocky was the story of an underdog overcoming great odds. In a way, it's similar to the Bible story about a key character named David who defeated the giant Goliath with a stone. A stone, a rock. I'm not going to get sidetracked by semantics. So let's say that David defeated Goliath by using a rock. Which brings us to St. Peter the Rock. Peter, Petra, Petros. Those are all words that can mean rock. That's supposedly where the name Peter came from. It's written that the name was Simon, but Jesus gave him the name Cephas, meaning rock. Petros, Petra, Peter. It's all about the rock. And of course, there's that verse, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." As one of the early leaders, Peter is considered to be the first pope. So, yeah, St. Peter, the rock. Now, a rock can be precious and sacred. Think of the Dome of the Rock, for instance. Here's another example about American history. Plymouth Rock. American history books mark Plymouth Rock as important. There's connections to the supposed origin of what we in America call Thanksgiving. And we're not too far off topic here because the Rocky movies are considered by many to be so-called Thanksgiving movies. And speaking of Thanksgiving, here I will go off topic. Actually, I want to share something personal that happened to me on Thanksgiving Day. So years ago, I was having a hard time dealing with life in general, and a lady I worked with at the time recognized my struggle and offered me this advice. She said, I can find what I need in the Bible. I asked her which part I should read, and she said, just open to any page and then start reading. So later that night, I grabbed a Bible, closed my eyes, and then flipped it open to some random page and jabbed my finger down on the page. When I opened my eyes, I was completely blown away because my finger was pointing directly at the word Thanksgiving. Now, remember, this was on Thanksgiving. So by that time in my life, I'd already experienced a lot of synchronicity, but this particular event left quite the impression on me.
I like that. It's a good omen. Nice house. I say it's a nice house in general, wouldn't you? Huh? Look at these bricks, Adrian.
My husband's an expert on bricks.
Are these new bricks?
Yeah, oh, this is a very solid neighborhood.
Yeah?
I like this. Very
I
nice.
like these bricks. They're very nicely done here. Looks very solid. Nice mailbox. I like this mailbox. You know, these numbers almost add up to 9 here. I like that. It's a good omen.